Teen male here. My dad married my stepmom just about a year ago. She didn't want me to live here and wanted me gone. I've insisted that I should stay as I don't want to live with my mom. Her husband is a piece of work, so we're always clashing. She announced last month that she wouldn't allow me to eat anything she cooks or cook anything she buys, and I should arrange my food separately, down to the ingredient level, including salt, because I'm not her problem to deal with. This is annoying, but anyway, I can handle it, and I didn't want to act entitled, so I started buying and cooking my own food. We've been going like this since then. My dad pays me for the food I buy, although my stepmother believes I should pay for it because I have an income. I eat separately because I'm not allowed to eat at family dinners. Her sister had an accident a few days ago. On the day of the accident, stepmother texted me in the afternoon, saying she was bringing the sister's kids over and they'll arrive around midnight. She asked me to buy them groceries and snacks and make them a late dinner. I never replied to her and didn't do anything. I have to say that while for a few hours it didn't look good for her sister and she had to go into surgery, it ended up being successful and she'll thankfully make a full recovery. They came, she noticed there wasn't any food, and they were indeed hungry, so she was angry at me. And I told her that it's not my problem to deal with, and she said I'm being a jerk. And I said it takes one to know one, so she ended up ordering pizza. My dad told me that I was out of line, and I should have just done what she wanted me to do, because it was an emergency, and I should have done a favor for her, and it would have gone a long way to improve our relationship. I told him that our relationship has always been hopeless, because she hated me for no reason, so there's nothing I can do that can make her hate me any less. And at this point, I've accepted it and don't care anymore. He said it's not true, and now I'm grounded. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. You're not entitled. She set a precedent in the home, and then she got angry when it came back to bite her. Your father's a real piece of work, too. I could not imagine marrying someone who would mistreat my child. I recommend you get away from all of them as soon as possible. Yes, it's what she wants, but is it worth staying in such a hostile environment? Seriously, I was going to say this as well. But if I was with someone who treated my son like this, they would be out on their butt in no time. Also, if guests weren't arriving until midnight, the stepmother should have asked her husband to grocery shop and make food. Why ask OP after mistreating him? Because she's trying to manufacture drama to drive OP out. What a nasty piece of work. When people say you should aim for fairy tale endings, they don't mean becoming the evil step-parent. Do you have grandparents or a decent aunt you could live with? I hope your dad realizes you will not be around to help him or stepmother when they're older. You're not allowed to eat at family dinners? Wow. How did your dad sire you when he has no balls? Your mother's no prize, letting her new husband scare her child away. I'd say that all the adults have failed you. Poor kid, how awful. OP, I think you need to sit down and ask your dad why he has higher standards for you, a teenager, than he does for his wife, a full-grown adult. I'm a stepmom, and I most certainly think it's my problem if my stepchild is hungry. I also don't understand why he'd marry someone who's combative and not loving toward you. You are a part of him, and she supposedly loves him, so what gives? I'm going to be real with you. I'm a mandated reporter. If I knew more about you, I'd report her and your father to CPS. It's his job at the very least to ensure you're eating and being provided food. And him letting her do this to you is all kinds of wrong. I'm sorry, both of your homes suck. The problem isn't my brother's choice of bride. She's great, and our family adores her. It's the fact they eloped and didn't have a proper wedding with the families there. He met his girlfriend at university. They've been together for 3.5 years now. They moved together after they graduated from university in 2020. 6 days ago, she and my brother disclosed that they were married. Last Tuesday, they took the VIA train to Belleville, got married there, and returned the next day. They told everyone they got married on Thursday. They picked that random Tuesday because it was the first time since his girlfriend started working that she had 2 days off in a row. She began working as a nurse in a hospital in 2020. They said they don't want gifts and won't be having any other wedding stuff or going to any parties on their behalf because his girlfriend's still cautious about seeing people due to her job. The backlash and anger were so bad that my brother blocked me and every other one of our relatives. He told us if anyone said a word to his girlfriend, they would be permanently cut off. My parents have talked to his girlfriend's parents, and apparently their family feels the same. The issue isn't her family not liking my brother, or vice versa. It's that they eloped. We're Mexican and her family's Italian. Both families are huge, and it's traditional in both cultures to have big weddings. Everyone is so disappointed in them, and I know that when my parents met her parents, they started talking logistics because when they moved in together, it ruffled some feathers, but the global issue made a wedding impossible anyways. I told my brother he screwed up massively. He had known there would be backlash and fallout. When they told everyone, they said they decided to elope the same morning they got married. They don't even have rings, and my parents were horrified that he proposed without giving her one. I understand she can't wear a ring at her job, and neither can my brother, but the symbolism is still important. My brother lost it on me, and he thinks I'm the wrong one. If you think about it, both families are large and not one person agrees with them. Also, even though I'm not religious either, a church wedding is important to both families. It's not just me. Parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, and uncles are all furious about it. Am I the idiot? I was only telling him the truth, and there was no way he didn't know this would happen. You are the idiot. First off, she's not his girlfriend, she's his wife. They're married whether you like it or not, whether you were there or not. They did what was best for them. You're not entitled to their wedding. They don't have to have a wedding. They get to do what they want. They didn't disrespect anyone. Do you want a big family wedding? You can have a big family wedding. No one's obligated to invite anyone to their wedding. Everyone who's giving your brother crap is an idiot. That includes you, so you are the idiot. It's undeniable to see why he eloped. The families assumed they'd be able to take control over the wedding, and your bro and his wife had solid reasons why they didn't want the big wedding your families would have liked. The way you're acting about him eloping shows the couple was right. Trying to negotiate would have gotten them nowhere, so eloping was their best choice. This is their relationship and their marriage. Who cares if they don't want to wear rings? Y'all need to mind your own business. Other people's weddings and marriages are not about you, even if they are in the family. Let people live their lives the way they want. Right? That stuff about how both sets of parents started talking wedding logistics as soon as the couple moved in together, scandalous, just gives hives. I want to escape from these suffocating families just reading about them. My husband and I, 45 male and 45 female, have 4 kids. Our youngest daughter has a group of about 7 to 8 girls in her social circle. They often have sleepovers together. My daughter went to her friend's, young teen female, for a sleepover, and there was one other girl, young teen, there. The friend she was staying with has a twin brother. After some renovations about 2 years ago, he moved to the basement of the house and made it his boy cave. He plays baseball and tennis and loves sports. His room/basement is covered in all sorts of sports memorabilia. The boy also has games and has all of the consoles and plays video games with his friends. The basement also has a kitchen he decided to renovate to be vintage. At the latest sleepover, his sister and the 2 other girls went downstairs. The boy was out of town for a friend's B-day. After the boys came home from the trip, the next night I got a call from the girl's mother explaining that her son had returned to a broken TV and stove. She asked if I could come over, and the girls were asked to explain what had happened. They started to tell their story, saying it was an accident and that the Wii remote crashed into the TV and they didn't know what happened with the stove. There were inconsistencies in the story. We threatened to take phones away if they didn't tell the truth, so they told the truth. It was on purpose. The girls were mad at the boy because he refused to tutor his sister during the school year, telling her to study. The girl ended up failing the year and had to go to summer school. This led her to miss out on the stuff the girls wanted to do with her, so this was their revenge. They purposely broke the stove and purposely threw Wii remotes at the TV. After that, we discussed what we wanted to do. We wanted the girls to split the cost of getting a new TV and restoring the stove. As we were discussing this, my son texted me a picture of one of the Snapchat stories my daughter had posted. The girls had also mocked him for buying some stuff, like a big old sports water jug, and the clothes he wore, vintage sports jerseys. Since he got some of them at the Goodwill, we decided to take the boys shopping at thrift stores for the day while having the girls talk to the people who work in donations and explain why their services were needed. To cover the cost of the TV and stove, we're making them do chores around the boys' house, including his chores, in their own homes. They can also mow people's lawns and do other things to make money. My daughter called my mom and dad after this and explained to them how it would take her many months to work this off. And my parents called me and told me that I was out of line and should pay for the damages without making my daughter do chores because she's just a kid. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Great parenting. Actions have consequences, and you're a good parent for teaching your daughter as such. Tell your parents they raised an intelligent daughter. They need to support your decisions, particularly when they're spot on. Geez, what's wrong with your parents? It's not the boy's responsibility to tutor the girl, and he shouldn't be punished for saying no. The girls purposely broke the TV and stove, and they need to learn actions have consequences. So yes, they should pay for the broken items. What's wrong with them? Grandparents were fed BS by their granddaughter, and grandparents tend to be much more lenient with grandkids than their own children. What the girls did was petty bullying. If I were you, though, I would be cautious of what kind of person she's turning into. Her friends might not be the best influence. In addition, she could be taking a dangerous turn. Keep an eye out for her behavior and keep doing what you can to get her to understand how wrong this was. So I'm female and straight. This is relevant. And my friend Finn is gay, and we're both in our 20s. So I don't care that he's gay, nor do most people, i.e. our friends, families, and others, as we live in a pretty liberal and open area. The point is, Finn has adopted being gay into his whole personality. He's extremely over the top, flamboyant, and incredibly crude-mouthed. It makes people uncomfortable, not because he's gay, but because he's overbearing, quite crappy sometimes, and quite rude. I've told him before that he can come across as incredibly unlikable, and he always says it's because he's gay that people don't like it. But I've said to him, being gay has nothing to do with it, and most people don't want to hear about anyone else's intimacy. I've always been able to put up with it, but lately he's been more exhausting than usual. First, we went to a busy and short-staffed coffee place, and they couldn't serve us as they ran out of materials. So he kicked up a fuss, saying that they were targeting him, and I had to drag him out, saying they were short-staffed. We then went to another place, and because we weren't immediately served, he threw up a stink, saying to me once we were sitting, I bet if I was straight they would have worked faster. The last straw was at my sister's wedding. His family knows mine quite well, so they were all invited. Finn made it well known that he loved the venue and stuff, and kept trying to Instagram everything. He was up in people's faces, kept butting in during important moments, and upstaged my sister and my brother-in-law during their first dance and started dancing very flamboyantly. I was so angry I asked him to leave. I'd had complaints during the night before this, but people were too scared to confront him, and the dance was the last straw. I met up with him a few days later, and he was complaining, saying that people at the wedding hated him because he was gay, and that I was siding with the homophobes. I got really angry and said something like, "Your whole personality doesn't have to revolve around you being gay. The reason people don't like you isn't that you're gay. It's because you're rude, overbearing, and exhausting to be around." I haven't talked to him since, but he's messaged me and accused me of hating gay people, and now I'm reevaluating our friendship. Am I the idiot? Edit. He also came out 10 years ago, so I don't think he's projecting. Not the idiot. He seems to think he's the only gay in the village. From what you're saying, it seems as if he's just using being gay as an excuse to be rude, and he constantly gets away with it because no one wants to be seen as phobic. So it wasn't wrong of you to stand up to him. His behaviors are incredibly crappy, and like OP said, not related to being gay, just being a jerk. I mean, who tries to upstage a bride and groom? And I have little patience for folks who are mean to waitstaff. It sounds like he needs that honesty OP gave him, and some therapy. I'm sorry the friendship is ending like this. You're not the idiot. You're far more emotionally mature than he is, and you can't keep trying to talk to someone who refuses to listen to you. I, teen male, have quite severe autism regarding sensory needs. As a result, there are quite a lot of clothes I can't wear at all, and suits happen to be one of them. Loud music is also way too much for me sometimes, so I brought noise cancelers if needed. My brother 28 got married at the weekend, and the dress code for men was a black suit with a red tie. However, for me, he said it's okay if I don't wear a suit and bring headphones, look formal, and don't show up in any of the professional photography. So I did what he said. Easy, right? Apparently not. My sister-in-law, 31, and her family were talking to me about how what I was wearing was completely inappropriate. It was a white polo and jeans. It doesn't sound professional, I know, but I tried. And how I was embarrassing his side of the family completely. Sister-in-law knows I have autism too, and struggle with clothing sometimes. She told me I should have asked her first too, and I realized she's probably right, but I thought my brother would have considered both of them when telling me it's okay. Later in the night, sister-in-law was very drunk and started shouting at me to take my headphones off because it was completely disrespectful to have them on when everyone was dancing to the music. Again, I thought my brother had brought this up to her, so I just waited outside for it to be over instead of explaining. The next day, I heard her and my brother arguing about it, and now I feel really guilty. I probably couldn't handle it for the entire wedding, but I feel like an idiot, and I should have at least tried with the suit and music. Am I the idiot for not wearing the suit and bringing my noise cancelers? Especially if it caused this much of a rift the day after they got married. Not the idiot. You asked your brother. Also, there's nothing disrespectful about wearing headphones while people are dancing, but it is very rude to shout at someone for what they choose to wear in their head. And I don't even know if the word choose is what I would use in this situation. That being said, you do say you feel like an idiot for not trying the suit. A handwritten note of apology to the bride for the lack of suit only may help smooth things over and calm some of the guilt you feel. You're wrong. This OP has nothing to apologize for. His limitations with noise and clothing are known. He's a kid, and he did what he could to attend where he could handle the environment. Only a monster would be offended by this. Sister-in-law owes you an apology. Please do not write one to her. Agree. Imagine if he was in a wheelchair and the bride yelled at him to get up and dance because he's being disrespectful. It's kind of the same vibe. He definitely has nothing to apologize for. And if I were the groom, I'd reevaluate why I married her. Autism isn't visible on the outside, so people tend to forget that it can still be disabling to live with. It was up to your brother to give his future bride a heads up about this, and she shouldn't have been yelling at you. But the bride seems like a real prize. Don't worry, you'll have another chance at your brother's second wedding. I don't see this lasting. My ex and I divorced about 15 years ago, and we have shared custody of our daughter. In the divorce, she wanted our house, but I fought hard against it because it's been my family home for 3 generations before I inherited it. In the end, we came to a compromise, signed off by the judge. Basically, she gets to live in the house rent-free until our daughter turns 18, then I get it back. I had to pay utilities, maintenance, and property taxes the entire time. In addition, she can't make any modifications or upgrades to the house without my written permission. She's solely responsible for the cost, and the work has to be performed by an insured and legally licensed professional. I've been sending her move-out notices for months in anticipation of my daughter's 18th birthday, and recently that came to pass. The day after, I showed up at the house with a contractor because I wanted some work done before I moved back in. At first, she refused to let me in until I reminded her that I'm the legal owner of the house. According to the divorce agreement signed by the judge, she's no longer allowed to be there, and I'll call the police if she doesn't let me in. She got the point and opened the door. I was surprised nothing was packed, and it didn't seem like she was moving at all. We were arguing as I walked through and inspected my house. She wanted extra time, and I told her to be out by the end of the week, or I'll have her stuff thrown out. When I walked into the living room, I was shocked into silence. The living room is expanded by a wall being torn down and the bedroom that was once merged into it. She turned my 4-bedroom house into a 3-bedroom one. I didn't sign off on this. And from the looks of it, the work was probably done by her boyfriend and not a professional. I yelled at her and told her I was going to sue her for everything she has. Then I left. She went crying to our daughter and my family. Now everyone's telling me to give her another month to find a place and not to sue her. My daughter is firmly on her mother's side and thinks I'm the idiot for kicking her mother out a couple of weeks before Christmas and suing her. This is why I'm here. I think I'm right, and legally I am right, but my daughter's opinion of me matters to me. Am I the idiot? Edit. I inherited the house during our marriage, and since we were still in the honeymoon phase, I placed her name on the deed. After that, I remortgaged the house twice, once to get a better rate, and once for the money we needed. All of this led to my attorney advising me to compromise. He said there was a real risk of losing the house, so I compromised. 15 years with no rent? 15 years with no rent. Can you imagine what your life could be if you hadn't had to pay 15 years of rent while raising a child? That's $180,000 if we're talking $1,000 a month. And I'm not saying life with the kid after the divorce was all sunshine and roses, but 15 years without rent is a shot at generational wealth. And all she did was break the darn house? And what does the daughter think? She's 18 and can do all the same math. And it sounds like she had a live-in boyfriend in the house. Like, what the heck? They haven't had rent or utilities for 15 years. Where did their money go? I would honestly have a police escort her and all her crap out the property. Have her arrested for trespassing if she steps foot on the property again, and sue her for everything you possibly can. OP needs a lawyer though. There are lots of laws around tenancy that have to be carefully followed, so this is 100% legal because it will end in court. And of course, not the idiot. This woman has known the date of their daughter's birthday was the end of her residency for a decade. She's had 15 years to prepare. If she couldn't, then an extra month won't help. Call the police, show the divorce order, and have her removed forcibly. Geez, the rules for this arrangement could not be more clear. I don't know where you live and the worth of your house, but where I live, there's a huge difference between a 3-bedroom house and a 4-bedroom one. Your ex's actions cause you to lose tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's not even talk about how the removal of a wall can actually cause structural problems. I'd get a structural engineering inspection on the entire property to ensure the lawsuit includes everything. My 56 male, youngest son Tanner, 19, as far as I knew, was gay. He'd only ever talked to his older brothers and me about crushes on boys as early as middle school. He only had boyfriends throughout middle and high school, and his first relationship in college was with a guy. Over the weekend, Tanner came home with a girl, Natasha, 20. He introduced her as his girlfriend, Natasha, and we were a little confused. We just kind of went with it. I just thought he meant girlfriend in a friendly way, though in hindsight, Tanner's never really been feminine, so I just kind of chalked it up to him discovering himself more at college. At dinner Saturday night, I asked about how his apparent ex, Corbin, was doing and if they had moved in yet, not realizing yet that they clearly broke up. My other boys apparently got it already and started snickering, and Natasha looked confused while Tanner got mad. I finally noticed Tanner getting upset and asked what was wrong, and he yelled at me about how he introduced Natasha as his girlfriend when they got there, and I had an oh crap moment. I tried talking to him Sunday before they left, and I tried to explain that I hadn't realized, and he got mad and told me again that he had literally introduced her as his girlfriend. I told him I thought he was gay, and he got mad and said he was bi and never explicitly said he only likes guys. Am I the idiot? Come on, like even if rainbows are shining out your butt and you've got your PhD in gay, your previously only interested in boys' son brings home a girlfriend with no further commentary. What do? Is it heteronormative to assume he means it in the romantic sense, or biphobic to assume he doesn't? Gay stuff is complicated, and the only way to get through it is with a lot of love. which Dad has in confused spades. It'll take one conversation and be completely fine. Go forth, Pride Father, and openly communicate with your son. Agree. This is seriously going to be hilarious down the road. You're not the idiot. It was a misunderstanding, not something you did to be malicious. Your son can't expect you to know what he doesn't tell you, and you can only base your knowledge on the things you know. So I suggest talking to him about the situation and making sure he knows that you didn't mean to upset him or anything. You were just going with what you knew. Boy, I would have loved to see the look on OP's face when it clicked. Girlfriend can sometimes, especially by gay men, be used as a term for friend. I hope this girlfriend didn't find out about your son's, her new boyfriend's, orientation at this time. Not that it matters to most people, but some people might be shocked to find out their partner isn't straight. This is just a misunderstanding. Talk to your son and Natasha when things cool down. I do sympathize with my sister. I love her very much, but she has made some very poor, in my opinion, decisions. I, female 33, am 6 years older than my sister. She's a brilliant and talented musician. I can't praise her skill enough. Truthfully, I'm somewhat jealous of it. I didn't get that. There are 4 kids in my family. My 2 older brothers, myself, and my sister. My brothers are much older than us. They love us, but they're more like young uncles to us. The younger one was in university when my sister was born. My parents had money set aside for us that our grandparents saved for us. Our parents invested the money and contributed to it. They weren't horrible people, so they didn't take it for themselves or hold it over us to control us. When we graduated from high school, we were told there was money for us. We could use it for school or investment or whatever. It was ours. The only stipulation was that we would get it in yearly installments for 6 years. I guess that way we wouldn't blow it all and have a chance to grow up before it was gone. I got some financial assistance for my education, so I actually managed to save almost half of mine, enough of a sizable down payment on a house when I was 24. That was the year my sister graduated. She decided to go see the world. She traveled through Europe and Australia. She went snowboarding in New Zealand and Argentina. I told her that she should save some for school. She said that she was making money busking and that she was okay. Then the global issue happened. I thought that maybe she would come home and study while the world was shut down. Nope. She stayed in Indonesia because it was cheap to live there. Well, now she's home. She's down to her last installment. My parents signed over the account to her with all the money that was left. It's enough to get her back to Indonesia, but now she's looking at the account and realizing she's at the end. There's no more coming. She asked me out for coffee and was crying because she might have to use the money to pay for an apartment and then figure out what to do. She wants to go teach English as a second language in Asia, and while you can do that with certification, you won't get paid very much. You need a proper degree for some of the well-paying positions. I didn't say I told you so, but she could guess what I was thinking. She says I'm an idiot for judging her choices and not supporting her lifestyle. I wish I had traveled more when I was younger, but I got an education instead. So did our brothers. She chose to use her money that way. I feel bad for her, but I told her it wasn't a great choice. Not the idiot, not supporting her lifestyle. Huh? She says support but means subsidize. She wants you to give her money so she could continue pretending to live a life she can't afford. She made her choices and now has to deal with the results. Not your problem. You are the idiot. I'm tired of this crap that everyone should be completely selfish and generally doesn't owe anyone anything. While that's technically true, go live in a cave then. Because if you live in a real society, you help people and they help you. If not financially, emotionally, with kind words, trying to help them find a job, referencing them, etc. I understand a lot of you have been screwed over, but wow, a little empathy and compassion doesn't hurt that much. How much do kind words help though? Realistically, her choices were lazy, entitled, and stupid. Her financial support and musical talent were incredible assets, and she squandered both. She knew how much she was getting in each installment, the cutoff date, and busking was not covering her expenses. OP tried to do the actual kind thing and get sis to see reason and plan ahead, but she wouldn't listen. Not the idiot, OP. You did your best when it counted. Unfortunately, your sister's free ride is over. That's all. Months ago, my coworker Debbie used me to get a raise. I was initially happy for her, but she cannot complete her work independently and goes to me for help every day. For months, I've been explaining the same concepts again. I'm irritated that she used me, but could not pull her weight. Debbie tries to offload her work onto the other coworkers and me because she's so busy despite having the least amount of work on the team. Debbie also deletes important emails from clients. I don't even know what to say about that. Debbie doesn't believe she's being compensated fairly for the amount of work she does, so she started looking elsewhere months ago. I've been overworked for so long, and I can't handle this anymore. I regularly work long overtime hours to ensure deadlines are met because I'm assigned more essential duties. Now I feel like I've been babysitting Debbie's work. In addition, I've been getting physically sick from working here. I thought I could just suck it up and told myself things would get better. But 2 weeks ago, something just hit, and I started applying. I quickly found a new place and will leave in 2 weeks from Friday. When Debbie found out on Friday, she was furious. She told me she felt blindsided that I was leaving. She tried to convince me to stay a bit longer, saying my departure would cause her and the team much hardship. When I refused, Debbie asked where I was going. She told me that she's been looking for months but couldn't find anything. She asked if I could help her find a new place since I found one so quickly, but I didn't answer. I just wanted to lay low for the remaining days. On Friday, I finally left after regular hours, but Debbie tried reaching out to me for an emergency. Her past emergencies were situations I've taught her before, so I suspected this was no different. Then Debbie started calling and texting my personal cell, but I've been ignoring her. Finally, she texted me that I shouldn't be so selfish now that I'm leaving, and I shouldn't leave her and the team high and dry halfway through my work. Debbie has also been calling and texting, asking if we could talk about getting her a new position. I've been ignoring that too. Part of me feels bad for Debbie because she's not happy here, and my departure will cause her hardship. The team cannot function without me, as I was the top performer, but I'm so burnt out that I don't even want to work for the last 2 weeks. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Stop feeling bad. New employees are given a pass for so long, but eventually, you have to be able to pull your own weight. Debbie can't, but you've been pulling her weight for so long that she's probably freaking out. So I would tell her the truth. You are not her babysitter. She gets paid more than she deserves for the work she does already, and she's a grown adult. So if she can't get her own new job, it's not your responsibility to find her a job. Agreed. No wonder new people don't like me at work. I don't sugarcoat things. OP, please don't tell her where you'll be working. What if she follows you and continues this madness? Ugh, I can't stand lazy mooch coworkers. She's a leech. Maintain those boundaries as you finish out your time. Set the new expectation and be concise and clear. Debbie, I'm not available to assist you. Debbie will depend on you or anyone who will take her on in any job. People like that are not happy anywhere. So please continue to ignore her or block her. You are not her ticket to something bigger and better. This is harassment. I've been dating a guy for a few months now. He's kind, caring, and funny. A little eccentric, but nothing about him has ever seemed off. The other day, we were talking about something we wanted to buy together, so he opened up his phone to the AliExpress app. When he clicked the search bar, I saw the search history had multiple variations of hidden spy camera, secret camera, and Wi-Fi camera. When I saw this, I wanted to double check, so I took his phone and typed the first few letters into the search bar, and sure enough, the variations dropped down from the search bar in bold. At first, he pretended not to know what I was talking about. Then he said, "It came up as a suggestion because you typed the first few letters in." I was calm but just kept telling him that wasn't true. Then he told me he and his friend had been talking about how she recently stayed at a hotel where she suspected there were hidden cameras, so they decided to research them together to see what they looked like. This also sounded like BS to me, and at this point I was kind of freaking out. I had never seen him so annoyed before, but he was in disbelief that I thought he'd really be the kind of person to buy hidden cameras. He said, "Okay then, I'll call my friend right now and she'll tell you it's true." And I stayed silent. Then he said, "Search my whole room. There are no cameras." Then he texted his friends to prove to me the conversation they had was real. The text said something like, "Hey, remember when we were researching spy cams together? Well, my partner saw it and they think I have hidden cameras. Can you reply so I can prove we talked about them together and that I don't have any cameras?" He said he felt embarrassed that he had to send a text like that to his friend. I felt like texting his friend kind of proves his story, because otherwise he'd be outing himself as a total creep to her too, and I feel bad for jumping to a conclusion and accusing him. It's been a few days and I think I believe him, but things are still kind of tense between us. I don't think he forgives me. Am I the idiot for jumping to that conclusion, or is it a rational reaction? Not the idiot. His text was telling his friend what to say. It was super specific and basically spoon-fed the info for them to confirm. What looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck is often a duck. Don't ignore your gut. Marinara flags all over the place here. Yep, his behavior is way suspect. See how his story changes twice when you didn't believe the first one? Why lie at first if you don't feel caught and don't have something to hide? Why not come out with the, "Oh, I was just curious what they look like" line first? I can't say for sure that this is what's going on, but I don't trust him.